Right, the basis for this video is really to sort of introduce my newest video cameras. But I thought before we got there that it was interesting to look back in time and look back at the days before people were strapping cameras to their helmets and so forth. I suppose I first got into the idea of videoing yourself on a motorcycle through my brother. But that led me down the road of thinking this is a great idea, being able to video yourself on your motorcycle rides. Now, the only danger of back then was we were both young men and we both maybe like to think we could ride better than we probably could. And the danger when you put that combined with videoing yourself is that you feel like you're on a performance. And that can lead to an unhappy ending. Luckily nowadays, that's of no interest to me. I'm no longer, I know my limitations, and I tend to ride just for enjoyment now, not for any other reason. So when we first started out, obviously Sandy had captured a lot of stuff with his own camera. Then Sandy invested in a bullet camera, and I'm going to have some clips I'll show you to start with, which is just various video clips of years gone by. But one of those clips is this particular one. And Sandy gave me a shot of a setup that included a bullet camera. And this camera was attached to it, and it went under the seat, and the cables came along, and I stuck it on the fairing. And this particular video footage, it looks fantastic. It's on a CBR 600RR. And it looks like all of a sudden I became, exactly what I said, young man thinking he's a racing icon, all goes wrong. But of course, what really happened was that the video camera came off the fairing and was hanging. I had it hanging by a lead so that it couldn't hit the ground. But it looked spectacular. But that was the sort of early moments of me trying to capture myself filming. The next thing was, of course, this the ATC K3 camera was the very first camera I bought. It was Scientific Oregon or something like me. I've got a picture there, I'll put it in. And to be honest, it was rubbish. And I never got it to work really that well. And I've got some video footage I'll show you. It's really not that great. But that was really the first camera that I could strap to a helmet, that would take video footage in a portable format that I had. And that was obviously just before GoPros became along. And then, of course, the world changed and GoPros came along. And I can show you a collection. Just wait a minute. So the first set of cameras that I had, you can see in here, we've got GoPro Hero 3s. I've got quite a few of them. I think that's a 4. Now, the 3 was mine. All these other cameras, my brother kept upgrading, and he just always kept giving me his old cameras. I think that's a GoPro 4. I had another Hero 3 that he gave me. And for long enough, in the early YouTube channels I had, these were the cameras that I used. It would be interesting one day to maybe do let's go through all the cameras and take some footage and compare how much the things have improved. But that's for another day. But anyway, I've held on to them, they're all there. Then my brother moved into the world of GoPro 8. So that, I've got to say, I think the GoPro 8 is the one that I probably got on the best with, and the GoPro 8 here. And obviously you've got the thing with the GoPros is you've got the media mounts as well, so you need those to be able to plug in microphones and so forth. And I even had a remote control that I could use, but it was always a bit tricky to use it, to be honest with you. Right, so then we moved on to the GoPro 9, and it's not been too bad as well. A bit heavier on the battery. And with all these GoPro cameras, the biggest bugbear for me was always trying to get bloody microphones to work with them. Hit or miss, and even when you did get them working, quality was never great. And then, of course, I discovered the world of DJI, and I got the DJI Mini 4 drone. Not doing a very good job here on the camera. It's been fantastic, and I've obviously did quite a bit of footage with that. And the great thing about the DJI packages is you can buy them as a sort of a package. And obviously I got, 3 batteries with it, extra blades, and I, obviously bought it with the fancy controller. So it's a great package. I've had a lot of fun with that, and it's only going to get better. I really am enjoying the drone stuff. That then made me think about DJI, and I thought, I love the quality. I think the quality of the drone's footage is fantastic. Even the photographs is fantastic. And that made me think about, possibly getting a camera. And I was aware that people on YouTube were suddenly beginning to sort of look at DJI. So I then bought the, what did I do with it? The Osmo 4 camera, action camera. Fantastic. It's been a game changer, this camera. Quality is fantastic, and using it with the audio has been absolutely brilliant. And I brought in this DJ Mini 2 microphone, and that's been just getting better and better and better. The audio quality is fantastic. I've got the solution at long last. After all those line of cameras, I feel I've got the solution. And again, with the Osmo 4 package, you get, a little caddy for it. You get a set of 3 batteries that you can, charge up. And get a wee selfie stick, And interestingly, this will let me demonstrate. If you can, my helmet's behind me there. It's behind me there. There. You get these mounts, and if you've ever used the GoPro, I used to have to tighten it up with a screwdriver so that it would never move, because otherwise it could move. And if you then, because the GoPro has to go into a sort of a media mount, in order to get into the battery, you had to then unscrew this part, which if you tightened it up with a screwdriver wasn't that easy if you didn't have the screwdriver. Then you'd have to take the camera off, then you'd have to take out the caddy, then you would change the battery, and it was a right guddle if you all had your helmet and everything on. It just wasn't easy to do. This system has a beautiful mounting system that, if you imagine this is on my helmet, you can see it behind me there, that it's on my helmet there, right? And if I think of it straight, it's there. You can see it there. It just clips on. So you just take the camera. It's got a magnetic, there's a magnetic that draws it in initially, right? And then it just clips in, right? So if I have to change, that's it mounted. I've not got to screw anything in because this is all in place already. And then if I want to take it off, then I just basically squeeze in a wee bit easier, a wee bit more difficult on this because I've got it a bit closer than it should be. But there it comes back off, and that's it. So you can get into this, you can change your battery, clip it back on. It's so much more efficient than the GoPro. And I've got to say that I just feel going forward that this has been a great investment. Along with the drone, it's a game changer. And I think with the mic, it's been a bit hit or miss this, because you can obviously give it 4 voice commands to start recording, stop recording, take a photo, and power off or power down. I can't remember what one it is. Now, take the photo, that seems to work more or less every time. The stop, start and recording can be a bit of hit or miss. Sometimes I think it's because there's too much noise and you need to slow down and pull up a bit. I've tried different frequencies of voices and, deeper, lower, higher, small, saying it quicker, saying it slower. I know it has to contend my crappy Fife accent, but it's been 50-50. But the battery life on this is better anyway than the GoPro. And if you combine it with this and able to stop recording, I can get well over an hour of footage out of one battery. If I'm doing continual sort of off and on recording, I can easily get an hour or two. And it saves all that footage, wasted footage that you've had to film and cut out of your video. You can just stop the camera. And I mean, you probably could get hours and hours out of this if it's just, you're taking bits and pieces along the day. But getting the 3 batteries, I can film all day quite happily and not worry about running out of battery power. So I just think it's changed. I wish I had this at the start, and I think going forward this year, this is going to be a great addition to my motorcycle vlogging. And I think the drone as well is going to be, I've got to get better at these things. I've got to understand how to use them a bit better and get the best out of them. But I think that I'm getting there, and once I get sort of another season behind me, I think I'm going to really get better at the filming. So it's amazing how, there you go. I mean, I don't know how many years that's been. Right, so the GoPro Hero 3 came out roughly, I think, maybe 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere in amongst that time period. And so there you go, 10 years. All those cameras I've shown you, really, that's 10 years worth of progress. I think GoPro were always expensive, and I think that they were always a bit hit or miss with their battery life, and people had overheating problems and everything with them. But they had the market, didn't they? And I think now they've had a real dent in their armour by DJI, who I think are really a massive threat to them now. And I think if you look over YouTube, you can see so many people are changing over to DJI, and you can understand why. I think just the whole way that the DJI setup works is so much more better and more suited to motorcycle vlogging. It's a great product, and I mean, obviously, I've still got other cameras here that I can use for doing certain other things, or I may expand and buy more DJIs over time, which is most likely outcome. But certainly, I've got more cameras than I'll ever need. But going forward, I think the DJI is it's a game changer. I think the whole aspect of it is so much better. here's a wee short brief history of my cameras and a little bit of film footage in between there of some of the older stuff that we used to do. It just gives you an idea of where they've gone and why I think the DJI is a better camera. Thanks for watching. Bye.